Good morning. So I'm out on a walk with my dogs, and today's the second morning after the declared war yesterday. Everything in the north is still very calm, but it's like an eerie kind of calm. Everything is, there's fighter jets all night have been in the air. I've been hearing them all night and all morning. And everything just seems very, very, very quiet. And there's like an energy in the air that you can feel. It's like, it's kind of eerie. I still haven't watched, I don't watch news. I don't have a TV. I go to my parents to watch news. I still don't know exactly what's going on today yet. But my sons went yesterday to Tiberias, to their father's house. They were trying to talk me into coming with them. They feel safer in the city because there's more people. Um, but I just wanted to stay home. There's fighter jets going over all the time. I came here to the side of the mountain and crawled down here on these big stones overlooking the mountains here, just kind of getting out of the sun. And I want to talk a little bit about how I'm feeling and the twin flame journey and spiritual awakening. Just kind of to give, just kind of to tell you where I'm at with it all. I've been sitting in this immense pain for the last few weeks, and I kind of feel like yesterday was there was also like a peak, but also like a let go, just like an ease into the pain. And this morning I'm feeling a lot more, I think that also with the whole war thing, and there's so many people that have lost their lives, and there's, people that their whole lives are turned upside down overnight in an instant. And it really gives you perspective. It really changes your um, it really changes your perspective, the way that you look at things and how precious life is and how every moment is a gift and everything can change in a blink of an eye. Even with me, I feel like with the war breaking out, that even though I haven't felt anything immediately in my life, except for one of my sons is taking it pretty hard. Now there's a helicopter, two helicopters. Those look like helicopters. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. I'll see. They're like, somewhere there in the sky. I don't know if you're able to see them. And up there, that direction where they're coming from is the border with Lebanon. It's further up north. And those look like big helicopters that transport soldiers. So one of my sons is really taking, like, he's under pressure. Like, he kept on calling me into the middle of the night, and finally I had to tell him, just quit calling, I'm sleeping. You're calling every 10 minutes. And my daughter is very distraught. I talked to her last night, and after they called her boyfriend up for reserves, and she took him. And I called her at 10:30, something like that. She was supposed to be on her way, and she said, just please quit calling. She can't deal with it. She sounded like she was like super distraught, but in a way that and I can only imagine. And we have a family WhatsApp group, and her boyfriend sent in a picture of where he is, that in the army, like to let us know that he's okay. Kind of just sent a picture of all the soldiers, like, and not really, you couldn't really see their faces, but where he was at, and that everything was okay. And so I don't really know what's going on in on the ground, but that's what's going on, like in the feeling. There's like a really weird energy that you can feel, a really weird, strange, like everything's at a standstill, almost like everything's waiting for something. You can feel it. And I think that there is a unity consciousness. If there's so many people that are feeling a certain way, and that is what they're vibrating out, then when you walk outside, you can feel it in the air. Um, it's a very strange feeling, very eerie. And on the twin flame journey, um, I saw him on Friday when I went to the Rob, and I want I feel like I don't really want to talk about it so much and give it so much power. I left feeling that things that he said and his actions, all of it together, let me know that he really does want this separation, and he doesn't want um, um, he doesn't want us to, he wants separation from me. And all I can do is accept it. There is no way from this point that we are at. Um, there's no point in trying to hold. There is no coming together at the point that we're at now. So the only choice that I have left is to let go, and really let go. There's no point in chasing. There's no point in glimpses. There's no point in trying to hold on to anything. It just makes the pain worse, and it holds me in place, and it's futile. And like there's no going forward from this place with him. So it's all in letting go. And the way that I see it is that, first of all, I need to let go of any kind of hope of unity, because holding on to hope of unity is holding on to him. And as long as I'm holding on to any kind of hope of unity, I'm not being able to move on. And I really need to move on from this point and just completely let go. And then also knowing that if there is any hope and unity, it's in the letting go and allowing things to happen and unfold however they unfold. But from this place where I'm at right now and where we are right now, I have to let him go for my own sanity as well. And really stop the chasing, really stop not looking forward to seeing him, not is he going to be there, none of that. Just let him go completely. Just sit in it, sit in the muck of it. I feel like I'm down in the very, like that last day that we were together, and I went down into this hole, and I was diving, and it was in the muck of everything. I feel like I'm in the muck, and I need to just sit in the muck for a while and really bring the focus. I want us to quit talking so much about the twin flame journey and twin flames and all of that, because it's just keeping that alive and keeping my focus on that, and keeping me stuck on that. And really, I want to shift my focus onto my own spiritual awakening, which is what this is. Even this whole twin flame fiasco, crapola, the whole thing, and really be an appreciation that we did meet and the time that we did have together, and how it felt to be with him. that's something that now I have an anchor. It's like I know how I want to feel in a relationship. I know the depths that I can love, and I know the depths that I want to be loved and to be seen. And so from this point, I know that I don't want to settle for less than that. And I know the depths of my own self too, that I can go with my own self inward, how deep I can get. And I just want to go and sit in that place with myself and with my children and with anybody that I meet and on these videos, just to be the purest version and the deepest version of myself that I can be. And that just means being in pure honesty. And I want to lift myself up out of this pain. Pain is I see pain and jealousy and all of these low vibrational emotions as pass through emotions. They're emotions that we're meant to pass through so that we can find the light on the other side. Or maybe that's my own interpretation of it, but I feel like they're here to teach me something, not to sit in it. I don't want to sit in this sorrow. I want to pass through it and to take inspiration from it and grow from it. And I'm thinking about my spiritual awakening. So I want to be grateful that I met him, and an appreciation that I was able to have the time with him that I did, and an appreciation that all the lessons that I've learned from the experience with him, and then just let him go and let him go doing his own thing, just allow and not try to hold him like, oh, my happiness is dependent on you. Who wants that? First of all, I don't want my happiness to be dependent on anybody. And certainly I don't want anybody else to feel like there's a big hawk going over. Oh, I just spilled my coffee because I was looking at the hawk. I don't know if you can see it. There's a big hawk going just right over there above me. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right above me. Like, and so I want to take the focus off of that and quit talking about it so much, and not give it so much power, like, oh, poor me. Oh. Because when I start going down in there, I start getting into those mind loops, and then I just become like, almost like crippled in the emotion. And then when I start thinking, oh no, you have to come out of it, you have to do this, you have to do that, and then it starts causing pressure, and then I start wanting to run. And so really I'm feeling like this spiritual awakening is more just like sitting in it. And like the other day I had this pitom, like pitom means all of a sudden. I had this all of a sudden this like tick, where I disconnected my focus from my pain. I was able to just sit in the pain but keep my mind to myself, like take control over my mind. And I feel like in this rising, when we get to soul level, it's like taking control over our ego, which our ego is the container of our emotions and our mind and everything that we have, all the tools that we have to use in this lifetime. So part of that being able to take control over my mind and kind of say, okay, so you're feeling this, but it doesn't mean that you can't think about this and this and this and that. I feel like that is part of the spiritual awakening. It's part of the coming into ownership of myself and full control of my being, like coming into me being in the soul seat, like me being in the seat of the master of my domain, which my domain is me, my ego, my humanoid self. And then I was thinking, okay, so this morning I was thinking, focus on your work, on your own spiritual work. Don't, to get away from the whole twin flame thing and, well, where's he? What's he doing? Why doesn't he want me? What, blah, 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 blah. Am I unattractive? All those weak thoughts, and pull myself back into my own spiritual awakening, which is what will bring me out of it anyway, right? And so then I start thinking, well, how do you focus on self-work? What is self-work? And this is something that I've thought about a lot of times before, but then I realized that self-work is exposing myself. It's finding the places that all it is, the self-work is exposing following the emotions, the places that I feel weak and the places that I'm having emotional turmoil, and following those places down into like chain reaction, like follow them. Why am I feeling weak? Why it always comes down to self-worth. And then finding that point of self-worth and letting that go, because knowing that it's not true in my mind, if I follow it emotionally down to the core, I can see that at the very core of it is sitting a place that I don't feel worthy. And then I go, wait a minute, I am worthy. And my worthiness is not dependent on somebody else's opinion of me or somebody else's wants or needs. And then I can give that to myself, Lola. And in that I can let those places go. And also when you find those places of like, okay, why am I feeling unworthy, and then follow them back to my childhood. When was the first time that I ever felt that in my childhood? Or what is an early memory that I can feel that I thought that? And then go back to that child and look at myself as a child and say, because a lot of times we have these childhood traumas that happen to us, or situations that we were in, or things that we did that we feel unworthy because of them. But when we go back as adults and revisit that moment and look at ourselves in that moment from a distance, revisit it and see ourselves in that moment as a child, and then we can just like release ourselves from it. We say, why would that child feel anything but, that's not that child's fault that they were in that situation? Or be able to look at ourselves as if we were our own child and feel pure love for that child that's in that situation, and feeling that way, and like give our own selves forgiveness and love and hug. That was something that I learned through Theta healing, a session that I had in Theta healing, that I went back to a childhood trauma of mine and saw myself in that situation and gave myself complete release over it. It was a situation where I went and I was peeking through my parents' window, and when they were, you know, in an act, and they saw me, and then my father got really mad at me, and I felt really crappy about it, and it haunted me. Like I felt like crap. I felt like I was like, and then when I went back as an adult through Theta healing and saw myself in that situation, I saw just a little girl, a little tiny girl that was curious, and I let myself go. I let myself off the hook, and it released so many other things within me, places that I felt that same emotion all through my adolescence and upbringing, and even into my adulthood. It released that emotion in me, the emotion of feeling that way about myself. It just completely, like, in one moment, when you release one thing, it releases. It's amazing how it releases so many things that are built on top of that. And so really it's awareness. So I started thinking, what is my self-work? And my self-work is self-awareness, just exposing myself to myself, allowing myself, going into places that I am in a wrong way of thinking, and exposing myself to myself. And then the work really happens on its own, because as you go through life continuously brings you situations in which you're constantly presented with situations. And if you have a wrong way of thinking, that wrong way of thinking will come up at situation after situation after situation. That's why a lot of times we go through life and we keep on getting pushed up against the same walls. We keep on having the same behaviors. Somebody that is constantly angry at the world, they're going to be angry every day. Things are going to be pushing those same buttons because it's not the world's fault. It is that person and how they're experiencing the world. And once they start exposing the reasons for them feeling that way, or jealousy, or any kind of emotion that keeps coming up over and over and over and over, is places that we are, because our emotions are ours. They're in the world, everything is just in a continuous stream of cause and effect. We don't have control over other people's behaviors. Other people are going to behave how they're going to behave regardless of whatever we do. So we can't allow other people's behaviors to determine how we act and how we behave. We can only take control of our own being and how we react to other people's behaviors. So if we have a behavior that we continuously feel, like we continuously feel anger, we continuously feel rage come up, or we continuously feel jealousy of other people, or we continuously feel whatever it is that is making our life experience, hindering our life experience, then this is every single time an opportunity for us to get down to the core of it and to fix it, right? If it's something that is interfering with our life, it is an addiction. It's like, when do you start taking care of your addictions? When they interfere with your life in a way that you can't continue living. And so if you notice that when we have a behavior that is out of whack with nature, out of cause and effect, out of acceptance, places where we're holding on to expectations, like we want it to be a certain way and it's not that way, so we're going to have this reaction to it. Those are places that we're not completely let go in this spiritual awakening. What I'm realizing is that to get into the soul seat, the soul doesn't have attachment. The soul is an experiencer. It's just an experience of everything that is happening. So anytime that we have this attachment to how we want things to be, it is in the ego level. It's always in our human self wants it to be a certain way, and we're trying to make it be a certain way. And so as long as we are feeling attached, and that's also with the twin flame journey, as long as I'm trying to attach, it can't be, because the connection is at the soul level. And it's of pure love. Pure love is not trying to control the other person and make them be mine or make them do a certain thing. It's allowing them to experience the life that they want to experience and experience everything in it that they want to experience, allowing and loving them while they're doing it, and allowing them to do it just like I want to be in my own life. And I see that is still a place that I have work to do. And so the self-work is basically exposing ourselves to ourselves, because once we become aware of these things, life will inherently bring us opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to fix it. Bring us opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to let go in that place. Because if we're holding on in a place, it's going to continuously unfold throughout our lives. It's a pattern. And it is us not going in the flow of life and not going in the natural flow of cause and effect. Things are happening. A rock starts rolling, it lands in a certain place. It's cause and effect. Everything in life is cause and effect. It's simple. There is no emotion. When you look outside of yourself, everything is just happening. There is no emotion attached to it. A rock fell here. There is no emotion attached to it. There's only an emotion that I attach to it. And so when I am able to detach and be able to control my own emotions and see what they are there to teach me, then, because our emotions are like our guidance system, they come in to teach us things. And so when I'm able to disattach from my emotions and kind of come up to the soul level and just kind of look at them and be able to, with my mind, also figure them out, then I am going to be presented with opportunity after opportunity to fix myself within it. And so this is where my focus needs to be, on just exposing myself to myself. Because once I'm exposed to myself, okay, so I may fall into the same loopholes again and again and again afterwards, but I will be noticing them, and I will be saying, okay, that was an experience that I could have fixed. And you'll keep on noticing them until you start noticing them while they're happening. And sometimes you'll still have the same behaviors, but you'll at least be noticing that you're having that behavior while it's happening. until in the end, you start being able to notice the triggers before they happen and choose a different path of behavior for that trigger. And sometimes it'll feel like you're overcoming something. It'll be difficult, like especially if in a certain situation you're used to having rage come up, or you're used to having jealousy come up. It's kind of like you have to depress that emotion that's coming up, and it can be painful because you are changing, you're pulling your own boundaries. And that was the second thing that I thought of this morning, is that you have to pull yourself out of your own comfort zone. You have to pull your own boundaries. You have to see the places that are your triggers. And if you want a fast track to spiritual awakening, then you have to put yourself in those situations purposefully in order to overcome them. And the more that you do it, the quicker you're going to overcome it. So if you have certain situations that usually would cause you rage, and I'm using rage because it's easier for me to use it because it's not my go-to, but I know that there are a lot of people that is their go-to. My go-to is usually pretty much, well, sometimes, but it's usually the opposite of that. I go into becoming a victim. So situations that I become a victim, I'm a little bit more blindsided by. It's easier for me to talk about rage because I can see it from the outside and kind of be but it's all the same patterns, right? It's all the same thing. It's behaviors that we have that our ego has in order to protect us from whatever the situation is, and we also protect our belief. We have this we have this belief inside of us that whenever it's put up against a test from the world, our ego wants to hold on to that belief because it's our identity. We believe that the world should happen this way, and we were taught to believe that, and we think that, and that is our identity of who we are. And so our ego is trying to protect it. So we have all these different behaviors to protect that belief or that addiction. The thoughts are also addictions, addictive way of thinking, or things that we're holding on to, or agreements with ourselves, within ourselves. And so whenever something comes and pushes our button in that place and it threatens our belief, then we start pushing against. So we might push against by becoming a victim. Oh, poor me. And then we don't have to deal with it, right? Poor me, the whole world is against me. We might even start crying so that the world will leave me alone in that place. Or I become a bully and start fighting against it, and rage comes up, and all sorts of different emotions come up so that I can push it away from me and I don't have to deal with it, right? It's a protection. It's protecting me. It's a fear. It's a fear of change, a fear of the unknown. It's a fear of insecurity, not being secure, because when we have these thoughts and these beliefs that we believe to be true, then we feel secure in our place in the world. We have security. And so on the spiritual awakening, what is the self-work? The self-work is to expose ourselves to ourselves and expose these places, which is basically we can do it by following our own emotions, by looking at ourselves and seeing what emotions we have that things trigger, what kind of go-to emotions do we have? Do we have rage? Do we have victim? Do we have jealousy? Do we have any kind of emotion that makes us feel bad? So any kind of emotion that you feel here in the pit of your stomach, and we're so used to feeling it and we don't want to feel it. So anything that all of a sudden comes into the pit of our stomach and makes us feel like, ugh, we straight away go into an automatic mode of the push away, whatever the behavior is that we push people away, which could be rage, all of these emotions that all of these behaviors, right? But it is all triggered from the emotions that we don't want to feel. And how do we know that we're having an emotion? Because we feel inside of our stomach like this kibbutz. Kibbutz is like a tightness come into our stomach. Once we feel like, once we feel that, that's where we need to be aware, and that's where we need to start digging. And when you start digging in it, you'll always see that it comes back to a place of us not feeling whole within ourselves, a place that we have insecurity, is a place that we feel unworthy, a place where we don't have full confidence in ourselves. So it's always coming back to that place. And to do the self work, work that you can do is to go back into your childhood and find the trauma that you felt that way, and look at that child within yourself. You can lay down in your bed and close your eyes and kind of go inward all the way and go back and find a place where you felt that way in your childhood, and look at that little girl or that little boy look at them in that situation and see that they were just tiny children and they didn't have control over that situation. They didn't have enough life experience to know any better or to do better than they did. Or you can look at them in that circumstance and see that it wasn't their fault, and kind of let them off the hook and give them the self-love. I know it sounds all corny and stuff, but it is the self-work, because any of our unworthiness, feeling that we're unworthy, is false. We were all born equal into this world. We all came in naked. We all came in with our own natural gifts and abilities. We all are equals. Any place that we feel that we are not sufficient or not enough, or that we need approval from others, or anything like that, are false. Those are false beliefs. We are completely unique. There is no competition. Each of us has our own gifts. Each of us has come to serve a purpose, and it can't be any different. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Each of us is an expression, one individual singularity expression of a makeup of elements of this world. We're part of this world. Every bug is, every human being is. We're an expression of God, and we are witnesses to other people's expressions. So jealousy is farce as well, because if we are fully complete within ourselves and knowing our worth, then other people's expressions and what they're doing is more like watching a show. Like, look at that person go, and look at all the things that they're doing. How awesome for them. Look at what they get to do, and look at their neat being and all of their talents, and look at God being expressed through them. Um, it'd be more like watching a spectacle. You get to watch a spectacle, and you get to be a spectacle in yourself. And so when you look at the world that way, it's far more entertaining. And so there's the self-work, exposing ourselves to ourselves. And that is like 90% of the work. Because once you expose yourself to yourself and you know where you're off, the world is going to continuously bring up those points where you're off. And every single time you're going to have the opportunity to do the self-work. And once you know that you're off and you can see it, you're going to be able to see it in every step. And it's painful to live a lie. It's painful when your soul wants to be its purest form. So once you identify the places that you are off, that's like 90% of the work. You identify it, and then every time it comes up, you're going to be aware of it. And if you're aware of it and you're not doing the work, you're going to be in pain, because you're knowing that you're not doing the work, and you're knowing that you're being false. So the work gets done in itself. That's like I was saying yesterday, we are being done. We're not there's nothing we need to do. We're being done. Our work is the self-awareness. So exposing ourselves to ourselves. And then the second part of it is pulling our own strings. Like, put yourself in situations that usually will trigger you, because then you are in a place, if your family triggers you, go and put yourself in your among your family. Contact the people that start. I'm not saying some things are better left alone, but if there's places that are causing you pain, then those places are places that need to be addressed. Rather than just closing that pain off in a Pandora's box and then living with this constant pain, There is release in forgiving. There is release in forgiving yourself and opening those Pandora boxes and checking out what the pain is in there and kind of finding, sometimes it's just a matter of release. There's nothing we can't control other people. We can't control what other people do, and we can't have expectations of other people to do their own. We can't do anybody else's work for them. We can only do our own self work. That was also a thought that I had this morning. I can't control. Oh, and I don't want to control anybody else. I have my own work set out for me in myself, and I have my own responsibilities and my children that need to be guided, and even them, it's at some point it's a release. I see my son and my daughter. I have a 26-year-old and 25-year-old. Their work is theirs. You can't do their work for them, and if you try to get in there and push yourself into places that they don't, it's a lost cause. Not only is it a lost cause, it's going against your own self, because it was somebody that doesn't want your point pushed to them. If you try to push it to them, it'll just make them offish on your point, and then they'll have a resistance to it, rather than allowing them to just realize it on their own and just living your own life. And so that was also another realization that I had this morning, is that during the spiritual awakening, we go through all sorts of different stages. And part of the stages is you start having these massive realizations like, oh, I want to go fix the world. I want to go fix the world. I need to yell this out to the world and let everybody know. And what do I need to do? And I'm coming to the point where I feel like there's nothing I need to do but come back into myself. And it's like coming into the now within myself and just being with myself. I don't need to fix the world. I don't have to fix others. There's nothing that I need to do. My biggest work, and the biggest work of God that I can do, is within my own self, is doing my own self work. And in that, once I become whole within myself, especially, how am I supposed to do work for the universe when my own self work is still being done, or I am doing. And so in that way, it's like I kind of feel like I'm not my world is becoming bigger, but my world is also becoming a lot smaller. I'm becoming more intent intent no content. I'm becoming more content with the smaller things, with just being. And so enjoying the also with this war that's going on, it's just bringing myself back into myself and enjoying my own self and my own self work. um, Taking my power back, really. So that's where I am this morning. Those are the thoughts, and I appreciate you guys watching, and wishing us all to be safe.